If you go back and watch one of my older videos talking about rain gear, rain layers and stuff, my GI issue level 6 Gore-Tex pants and jacket is my favorite, followed by my now discontinued proper Adventure Tech level 6 stuff, which is equivalent to the GI stuff, and then behind that my Red Lodge stuff. But for rain gear like that, with it, all of those have got hoods built into the jackets. I like those jacket and pants set up over just like a poncho setup, because I can put my gear on over it and still access my gear and everything. A poncho, it's just really hard to do that. I like the mobility and coverage that the pants and jacket combo gives me. And while they all have hoods built into them that you can use, generally, not always, generally, I don't like to use the hoods when it's raining, especially if I'm having to use it in a tactical situation, okay, defensive, whatever word you want to use. I like to have a separate hat on, keep the rain off of me, so that I can maintain openness around my head. I just don't like, again, for this particular use here, with the hood up, the amount of sound that it blocks coming from behind me. I already have enough problems. I can still hear real good, but I can't hear like I used to hear 20 years ago, okay? I want as much sound getting to me as I can. Especially if it's already raining. You got all the ambient noise of the rain coming down, etc. You're already losing what you can hear movement-wise and stuff from that. Put a hood up, and you're blocking a lot of the sound from different directions, etc. So I like wearing a hat. The problem is, where do you find a hat that's waterproof? Well, there's a couple of options. One of the first ones is the Outdoor Research Seattle Sombrero. Waterproof, great hat. It's kind of on the expensive side though. I mean, they go anywhere from 50 to 80 bucks depending on where you find them at. So, wanted one for a long time. I just haven't ever pulled the trigger on it, because every time I do, it's just like, wow, sticker shock. Not saying that it's not worth it, mind you. Not saying that it's not worth it at all. Just that, you know, it's a lot of money for me and my budget to spend on that one particular item. The other item is, but the only other one I know of, is the H2O proof series that Tru-Spec's got. Now they've got a waterproof boonie. A few years back, it's probably been, oh, let me do math in my head. I hate doing math in my head, it makes my brain hurt. 6, 7, 8 years ago maybe, around that time frame, 6 or 7, 6 years for sure. I had a couple, and I still got them, a couple of the H2O boonies. In a light rain, they work really well. But I ran into some problems with them. If you were in a light rain for an extended period of time, and also in a heavier rain, even for a shorter period of time. The problem that I ran into was in the stitching right around the crown of the cap, the hat. Water would start soaking through. Eventually to the point where you'd start getting a little trickle of water ever so often running down your face. Annoyed the crap out of me. I put tent seam sealer around the threads and done all kind of stuff. Never could get it to stop. So the past 5-6 years, been looking for something else. Now, I just saw some stuff recently, excuse me, where it looks like Tru-Spec's changed a few things on their H2O line. Back in 2007, yes, 2007, I tried one of their H2O parkas. Again, in a real light rain it worked okay, but when I used it in a training class one time when we had a little bit heavier extended rain, it started leaking through a couple of the seams. What I've been seeing and reading and hearing, their newer current generation stuff has got all taped seams inside, which is what you want. Hopefully they've rectified that issue. I don't have one of those jackets to try out right now, primarily because I've been real happy with my my GI stuff. I've got a couple of friends that are looking for something though, and the Tru-Spec jacket may be what they pick up. If they do, I'm going to drag them in and use theirs to review and kind of see how it does, because I think there's there's something to be talked about there for having a good waterproof jacket. Okay, and yes, you can still find the surplus stuff, although that is getting more scarce. The old EWEX stuff, it's still pretty good, but again, getting scarce. So a lot of folks might need to buy something new. Moving on, what the point of this video is, with seeing that on their newer jackets from Tru-Spec, and that they're offering a guarantee that if it doesn't work for you, whatever, you're not happy, send it back to them. So what I did was I got one of their new H2O proof waterproof boonies. So I'm going to try this one out. In comparing this to my older ones, I can see a few differences. In sticking this one under the sink and letting the water run over it for a little while, I didn't get any leakage issues. So fingers crossed there. I really like Tru-Spec stuff, okay? But I'm also going to try to be honest with you guys. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm going to tell you. Haven't had a chance to get this out in the rain yet. That's on the top of my list to do. Just as soon as we get the next good rainstorm coming through, which probably in a couple of weeks we will, because we're starting to get into that time of year where we start getting those frontal boundaries pushing through. We get some northeasters kicked up here, we can get some pretty good rain. If you want to test rain gear, good time to do it. So I'm going to try it just as soon as that's available, because I want to do more than just holding it under a sink. I want to see how it actually works in real rain. A couple of things about the hat in case you're not familiar with it. It's got typical drawstring like most Boonie hats do, okay? But instead of the little leather toggle on it, this one has actually got a fairly large rubber one. It's a good stiff hard rubber piece. Kind of a nice touch. Don't know if I'll use it or not. I generally don't use the chin cords on Boonie hats. We'll see. Around the top, you do have your typical Boonie Hat webbing, okay, for attaching originally scrim and stuff. Personally, I don't see that a rain hat like this would need it, okay, but I can take it or leave it. If it didn't have it, I'd probably like the hat just as much as if it does have it. So that's a take it or leave it thing to me. It doesn't matter. Personally, it's just one extra thing to have weight and bulk and extra seams and stitching on. But again, not a deal breaker. Don't care. This hat's also a one size fits most deal. The way they accomplish that is all the way around the crown of the hat, coming out back, there's a draw cord. And it's just got a simple, I added the toaster to it. The toaster doesn't come on there, but it is just a simple draw cord. You cinch it tight. You can tie a little loose knot in it to keep it tight to fit to your head. I like the toaster on there because it just makes for quick and easy adjustment. Once I figure out how it's going to work for me, I may trim this up a little shorter. I don't know, we'll see. So that's the basic features of the hat. Now, I read a bunch of reviews online, and I have to laugh at people sometimes. They don't understand the purpose of this hat, okay? Some were complaining about there being no ventilation on it. Well, if you take a Boonie hat that's meant for the rain and you put vents on it, I'm just a dumb southern boy, but it seems to me like it might leak a little bit through the vents in a good rain. I don't know. I could be wrong. The other thing I seen people saying was they didn't like how big the brim was. It's a lot bigger than most Boonie hats. Now, for traditional hot weather Boonie hat, sun hat, I don't like a really narrow brim, but I don't like a really wide one either, for the most part. If I was going to be out in the desert, like desert Southwest America, I'd probably want that real big brim. I like having that coverage. It'd be like wearing an umbrella, keep your neck and shoulders and all that shaded from the sun, your face. In the southeast, in the woods, I like a medium-sized brim, 2.5 inches, somewhere in that ballpark. This hat, though, has a really wide brim on it. Now, you may think that looks a little goofy when you put it on. If you're worried about how it looks, move on down the road, guys, okay? It ain't a fashion show. It's just not. The wider brim helps keep the rain off of you. If I'm using this with a rain jacket, then I want the water to be shed out here on my shoulders and my back, not up close where it's potentially blowing under and hitting my neck and running down inside my jacket. I want that coverage to keep the rain off of me. So this brim needs to be a little bit bigger. That's its intended purpose. Rain, wet weather, keep it off of it. So, long story short, Tru-Spec H2O proof hat for rain. We're going to try it, see how it works. So far, it looks pretty good, but the proof's going to be in the pudding when I actually get it out in the rain some. And if at all possible, I will get that video for you. Don't know when it'll be. I gotta wait for it to rain, and then when it does rain, I hope it's where I've got time to grab the camera and get out there and do it. So we'll cross that road when it gets here. But I just wanted to give you all a preview, let you know I've got this. This is one of the things that I'll be working on doing, kind of getting you some, hopefully some good feedback on that. So anyway, enough for now on that. Take care, stay safe. We'll see you next time.